Hi everyone, it's Andy from Snow Camps Europe, back with another podcast. And today I am joined by...
Hello, my name's Jamie Kagan. I'm one of the founders of Sommelier Edge and one of the founders of PSIE, the Professional Ski Instructors of Europe.
And...
I'm Derek Tate. I'm also one of the founders of the Professional Ski Instructors of Europe, and I'm also director of British Alpine Ski School in Chamonix.
Chamonix, France. Very nice.
Chamonix, France.
Swanky. All right, so I suppose to get straight into it, what is the PSIE?
Want to start?
Okay, well, the PSIE is a new training and certifying organization for ski instructors, and we were founded in 2024. So we have just completed our first Northern Hemisphere winter, and we've run all of the courses through our certification pathway in the Alpine pathway. So essentially we are providing training and certification for ski instructors for the industry.
Okay, so you said you've already in this first year, you've ran each one of the levels. So how many levels are there?
So it's a 4-tiered system. So just to clarify a little bit more on what Derek said, so we set up in 2024,
Yep.
and we are linked with the PSIC, which is the Professional Ski Instructors of Canada.
Okay.
Who set up in 2023. So we have licensed their educational stack, and we have what we're calling this borderless certification, where we have effectively a joint membership where members can access training and education and certification through both organisations.
Okay.
And to answer your question, we are a 4-tiered system, so similar to a lot of other organisations out there.
Yep. Okay, and you have, in the first year, you've ran level 1s, level 2s, level 3s, and level 4s.
And what we're doing now, which is the licensed professional trainer certification.
Which is the reason you're here in Kaprun,
Exactly.
and I'm here speaking to you, which we'll get onto in a second.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so you've run you've run one of each level. Have they all been in Europe?
No, not at all. So we started a lot of the season in Europe for the level 1 and 2 courses.
Yeah.
But then throughout the season, we've delivered courses in China and Japan.
Okay.
And obviously the guys in Canada have been delivering a lot, obviously, on their home turf as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from those courses that you've run and the people who've been certified, have they then gone off to work in ski schools?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Where have they been?
So we've had people in Japan this year. Last Southern Hemisphere season,
Yeah.
there were obviously PSIC members at the time because hadn't quite launched. That were working in New Zealand, Australia.
Yeah.
We have people who have been working in Europe this season.
Yeah.
And obviously Canada is obviously a place where they have the ability to work as well because of that same qualification.
I think what's really important is that Japan thing there, because obviously since Brexit, a lot of the British guys aren't able to ascertain the permits or the visas to work in Europe, but they can get them to work in Japan. And what you're saying is if they certify with the PSIE, they can then gain employment in Japan.
Yeah, because the way it works in Japan is there's the working holiday visa, which has just been extended this year, I think, to 2 years for Brits.
Okay.
Okay, so they have the ability to go there and work with that qualification in the ski schools.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a big bonus, huh?
It's a big bonus, yeah. And obviously Southern Hemisphere has been fine since last summer. We had members from PSIC more because they're a year ahead of us who were working in Australian and New Zealand ski schools.
Okay. So so I'm obviously a level 3 Austrian.
Mm-hmm.
I've become a member of PSIE.
Yeah.
I've been given an equivalent level 3.
Yeah.
Now doing the licensed professional trainer course, which we'll come to. Do I also, because you're linked with the PSIC, do I get that accreditation with that organisation?
Yes, you would. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just come in on that because we spoke about it the other night. But the key thing is if you get any certification with PSIE, you will get the same certification with PSIC, and
cool.
vice versa.
Yeah.
But to clarify also, if you're a member, as you are, of PSIE, you don't need to join PSIC in order to do a PSIC course that will be appropriate to your next stage.
Yeah.
So if you were to engage in the
so if I wanted to go and do a
level
level 4 in Canada with the PSIC,
You don't
I
need
don't
to
have to
join.
rejoin them.
No,
I'm already a
you
member
do that
because
as
of
a
my
member
membership
of
of PSIE.
PSIE,
Yeah, exactly.
and vice versa.
And that again is a bit of a unique.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess kind of the concept we came up with here in this borderless certification is that instructors tend to travel the world a lot.
Yeah.
Working in different countries.
Yeah.
And giving them the ability to keep with one organisation, one education pathway, and move a bit more seamlessly through that is what we're trying to set up with this borderless certification. So they might do a course with us here in Europe, do it then a season in Canada, and then maybe go down to New Zealand where we run courses, or Japan the year after. And so they can continue that education without having to move around.
I think Mike has got PSIC level 3 from Canada, right?
Yeah.
And now he's here on the licensed professional training course with you guys.
Exactly.
In Kaprun.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So how would you say you differ in the way of the, we would call it the methodic progression, so taking skiers from 0 to kind of, and when I say this, I say, if someone's having a lesson from a PSIE instructor, how would that differ from a lesson to maybe an Austrian qualified instructor? Is there a difference in the delivery?
Yes, I think there is a difference. I think that there are probably differences amongst many training certification organizations, but we definitely believe we have a very simple and understandable approach, which is based and grounded in science and how the skis work on the snow. Okay. And that's the really important thing. We're looking at the outcome as the most important thing. How is that ski to snow interaction actually used? So we get people to create a purpose, and the purpose of what the ski to snow interaction should look like, which is more measurable. And we want to create something that is more objective in measurement than subjective, which I think traditionally skiing teaching has gone down this route of more subjective opinion about what we should look like when we're skiing, as opposed to a more
what should be happening.
And it comes down to function or form, and again a lot of traditional approaches were more form based and we're function based. So
So if you've watched the podcast before, me and Wouter have spoken about the body is a reaction of what the feet are doing, then this is what we're kind of talking about. That is what Derek is explaining there, is what me and Wouter would say is the body reacts to what the feet have done. Okay, cool. So are your, when you're training level 1 teachers, the main focuses for those teachers, what are you training them on to get them ready for when they go to a ski school and do their first lesson? What are the main?
It's a really good question. I think the first thing, obviously, for any new instructor is making sure they understand how to create a connection with the guests and create a safe learning environment. So that's kind of the first 2 priorities that we have. And then after that is making sure they understand that when they go through a progression, there's an understanding of the why, the what, and the how and in their decision making. So making sure they understand when we put the skis in a certain position, there's a result that will happen from that. And then when we start gliding and turning, there is a result of that as well. And the feedback we get from the ski in the snow allows us to then effectively move, like you said, and put our bodies in a position to allow us to direct our centre of mass across the hill. So we try to get them to understand that from day one, so that when they're teaching, they can teach the individuals in front of them rather than putting maybe everyone in one box.
Okay. So and you actually said something earlier, because we've just finished a meeting about you say to your ski teachers who are doing a group, you haven't got a group, you've got 6 privates.
100%.
So everybody is treated like an individual. Their individual needs are addressed by that ski teacher.
And I think just to clarify on that, when the reason that we've gone with this ski to snow interaction and this purpose-based approach that we have is that if you look at the ski to snow interaction, that is the measurable outcome. Okay, and the fact that everyone is built slightly differently, the way that I move is going to be slightly different to the way you move. But ultimately, if the ski is working the way we want it, then that's okay. We don't necessarily need to make someone move in a way that's not appropriate for them.
And what Jamie's talking about there with the we're all built differently is something that if you watch the last podcast with Demelza and Brenner from the Women's World Snowsports Association, we spoke about, because there was a big difference in between a female and a male.
Absolutely. And then also between ages and body types. So there's so much variation there that we need to, if we come back to that ski to snow interaction, again, it's something that's measurable. And ultimately, all we're trying to do is improve that ski to snow interaction for the outcome we're looking for with the skier on the mountain.
Yeah, and so that, a female and a male are not going to have the same inputs to achieve the same outcome.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But we can measure the outcome, but equally somebody with really long levers or somebody really small, they're going to do it slightly differently, but they can still achieve the same outcome with the ski to snow interaction.
Yeah, cool. So the thing you said at the beginning of that was about making connections.
Connect and create with people.
Yeah. Okay. So give us a bit more background in that.
Yeah, I was going to just come in because the bigger picture of what we want to help the level 1 instructor and indeed all instructors is to create an adventure for the learners.
And I was about to bring in the adventure.
The adventure is a really important aspect of what we're trying to do. So the adventure is made up of fun, safe learning.
Yeah.
Now, we've often talked in other organizations about SEL, safety, enjoyment, learning, but this way around of fun, safe learning is because the primary thing for the guest coming for a skiing experience is they want fun.
Yep.
The safe element is the responsibility of the instructor delivering the session. The guest expects the instructor to look after the safety, while their priority is fun.
Yeah.
Okay. If we were to sort of turn it around to say, well, we could easily say that the instructor's priority is safety first, but we're putting it in that order to make sure we understand that the guest wants fun.
Yep.
They want to be safe and looked after by the instructor, and they want to have
learn something.
But that's what sets up an environment for learning.
Yeah.
We have those two things as the first priority.
Yeah. Because if it's not fun, you're probably not going to learn.
And if it's not safe,
if it's not safe,
you don't feel
you're not
safe,
going to be in a position to take on board information
100%.
and then.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the connection that was mentioned, you know, that's part of building the adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can create that connection between the instructor and the guest.
Yeah. And it's quite funny
and with guests with each other as well.
Yes.
So
Again, if you've got them 6 people in the group, bringing them together as a group of people communicating with each other and getting to know each other, whether it's on their holiday or on their course.
Right, is to create that environment where they can work together and build a connection to help that process of learning.
Yeah. And whether that's a group of tourists that don't know each other or a group of ski teachers that you're training on a course.
Exactly.
What I quite like the synergy of the adventure, because our strapline is join the adventure, and then you guys have got the adventure. And when I first saw that, I was like, oh, okay, it's quite cool. So that's kind of a bit about the PSIE, a bit about the courses, a bit about the theory and the philosophies, let's say. You're here in Kaprun delivering a licensed professional training course. Tell everybody what that's about.
So the course is designed as a way to introduce instructors into how to become a trainer, not necessarily for us as an organisation, but just in a ski school environment. So quite a lot of level 3s will work in a ski school where that level 3 is the highest qualified person in that ski school. That's quite a common thing around the industry. So that level 3 might at some point deliver some instructor training to the level 1s, level 2s, or even to new instructors that aren't qualified yet. So this course is designed to prepare that person to be able to deliver that kind of
and to give them the skills to actually be able to train staff, instructors within that ski school environment. So that's the important thing. So one of the things we're really want to define within this course is what is the role of the trainer and how does that differ to the role of an instructor, because they're not the same thing. And I'm going to throw it around to you because you're on the course.
I am on the course.
And you're doing the course with me. So maybe you can say what you've got from the course so far.
So before I say that, when I was in the restaurant business, then we had trainers within the restaurants. So we had we had a course like train the trainer. So this to me is the train the trainer course. Albeit we call it slightly different. What was your question? What have I got from it?
So I suppose what is your experience so far? We're 2 days into the 3-day course at this point. So, so I guess you're asking us what it's about, but in a sense,
what am I experiencing?
What are you experiencing from the course so far?
So it's a slightly different approach than I'm used to. And obviously I've worked in training ski instructors within the ski school and within the academies and like of snowmans. So some of the information we're getting given is a little bit different,
For sure.
which is good, because it's one of the reasons I'm doing it is to expose myself to different ways and different people's mentality and change of thought. Obviously, the terminology is different, but is the same.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, it's a different word for the same meaning.
Yeah.
Which is again is quite good, because that actually gets your head stimulated, because it is a slightly different word. So it is new, but it's familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? The way like today's sessions were conducted, for me, that was how we would go about training ski teachers. But it was obvious that some of the other members in the group maybe weren't as used to that. So obviously they've had a benefit from that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely it's different than anything I've done on snow before. Obviously, I've done it in the restaurant business, and then when I worked in corporate business, other training courses like this. But I've not experienced a course like this before on snow for ski teachers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And when you do go and work on a snowman's course,
Yeah.
you would probably be way better prepared to deliver the pre-training before they go onto their exam. Now, that whether that's be here in Austria where they go into the Austrian exam, or if they did it with you and they went onto the PSIE exam, because a lot of the trainers who we have here on snowmines have maybe never trained ski instructors before.
Yeah.
But they've reached a level within the progression of whether they are a Austrian qualified, a basic qualified, a Canadian qualified. They've got to a level where they are deemed to be good enough to teach.
So they
people
understand
to become
ski technique and how to teach
yeah.
someone. Yeah.
But they might not be able to create that connection.
Yeah.
Or teach them, teach the training instructor about connection.
Yeah.
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 Or train them about life within a ski school.
Yeah.
What's expected from you in your first 2 weeks in the ski school, which is something that when I train ski teachers, I do talk to them about, because I think it's pretty damn important that when they turn up, they have a very good understanding of what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, because quite often these courses, especially in the pre-season, they finish, they qualify, and 4 days later, they're stood in front of those six people who've paid €250 each to be in that group, or €300 each.
Yeah.
And even though they've done a pre-training course and they've then done their exam, they are pretty wet behind the ears.
Yeah.
So the more I can give them in the way of other understanding outside of this is how you teach skiing, makes them a much better ski teacher. And this is kind of what I'm seeing on this course as well.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it as kind of modelling and labelling the decision making.
Yeah.
So your role as a trainer or an experienced teacher, when you're delivering to either a new instructor or just in-house training, you're using the experiences you've had and imparting that kind of knowledge on them and taking them through what goes through your mind as you teach a lesson.
Yeah.
Which I think that's what we're trying to do with this course, is teach you how to go through that process and label those decision-making processes and highlighting where things go well, things don't go well, so that instructor, when they teach for the first time themselves, they've experienced that with you.
Yeah, and we had that today.
Yeah.
With the terrain, we had one person doing a little bit of the session, and the terrain that they'd chosen wasn't really appropriate for what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
But he very quickly went, right, that terrain wasn't good, so we're going to move.
Yeah, but that's a learning moment that a new instructor
which he
needs
can
to
now
understand.
pass on to
But
another
that was a
instructor.
valuable moment. It wasn't a mistake.
No.
And I think that's one of the things that is really fresh about this, the PSIC and the PSIE, is that when we're working with people to make them better teachers, and we want to get better instructors, we're helping them to become better teachers. We're not putting them in this really, just assessment environment where we're letting them make mistakes. We're actually, we will interject into that lesson and sort of help them.
It's guided rather than
to
taught.
success.
Yeah.
So it's really important that our process, both in the teaching and the technical, is a combination of training and evaluation in a true sense, and that's a very challenging role for the trainer.
Yeah.
it's not an easy role, and which is why, and you asked the question at the beginning, how are we perhaps different in what we're offering? And it's because it's not that other organizations haven't tried to use this training and the evaluation combined, but very often they struggle to do that because it's a really difficult role for the trainer. It requires a lot of skill, and it is quite mentally exhausting. We talked about it today. We're mentally exhausted from courses at the end of the day because we are working extremely hard, and that's what the trainer should be doing when they're training instructors. So it's not an easy job, and if you separate the evaluation or assessment element from the training, it's much easier for the trainer.
Yeah.
But it's not as valuable for the instructor learning to be better.
Yeah, it's interesting because when we do, if you did 4 weeks of the Snowman's course in November, you've started your season 4th of November.
Yeah.
You've done 4 weeks of training ski instructors. You've then got 2 weeks before peak season starts. You get to peak season and you are already season tired because those 4 weeks were really intense training.
Yeah.
And you have been mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
And you're going into what is now your main job in the season, tired. Yeah. Which is quite hard for some people. And you then find, and it's probably the same in France and in Switzerland, that come January, ski teacher flu hits.
Yeah.
Because those people who started so early have almost done what some people will only do in a season already. And they're run down, they're fatigued, they're tired.
Exhausted,
Also, the influx of all of the tourists brings germs, and boom, everyone gets sick in January.
Everyone gets sick. Yeah, it happens all the time. Yeah.
But can I just come back to that point? Just add to it, because I just feel it's so fundamentally important, is that we want the experience of instructors moving through the journey and that they're going through. We want that to be a fun experience. And so often instructors over the years that you've seen find it such a stressful environment in the exam situation. We're trying to create something that is much more enjoyable, because we're supporting them all the way through the process and actually helping them, even during the evaluation part, they're still being developed and we're still helping to guide them to success. Rather than just completely separating it out, putting them in that assessment environment, which then becomes just a pressure cooker.
So this was going to be my next question: is if somebody does a level 1, a level 2, a level 3, or a level 4, like with the system I'm in, you have, let's say it's a 10-day training and exam process, and the last 2 days you do your exam runs. Yours is not like that, right?
No, not at all. It's all combined into one. So for example, the level 4 process, you'll do the pre-course, which will set you up for the evaluation. But the evaluation is still continuous assessment and development.
Okay.
So the way that you will, on day 1, we will be observing your skiing and developing it. And also we will start teaching and develop your teaching through those 4-day process. And what we try to do is guide it all the time. And like Derek said, what we like with this process is the ability to interject if we need to, but not just on the things that aren't going well, where there's success. So where someone's achieving something that's really good, we jump in there and make that a learning moment for the whole group.
Right.
So that the next person that's continuing the lesson or is teaching next, has already experienced something there that they can take and use.
And as far as I'm aware, that is unique.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Certainly from the organizations I've been involved in the past, that we have never run a course where the evaluation is both the teaching and the technical in the same course. Because one is helping the other. Rather than separating the technical from the teaching, which happens in most organizations, that certainly as far as I'm aware.
Cool. Anything else to add to the licensed professional trainer?
I don't think so at the moment.
No, I don't think so. I mean,
so who can do it and who can't do it?
So I mean, anyone that has a level 3 qualification in another system obviously gets direct equivalency with us at level 3 for both organizations. So if you're a level 3, then you're able
to sign on like I have.
Exactly.
Yes.
Attend the course.
Become a member obviously first, and then you can come and join.
I mean, I would add a slight bit of clarification on equivalency, because I don't want people to be misled, and sometimes people can think, so you've joined and you get equivalent recognition
Yeah.
of your level 3 qualification, but we're not going to issue you with a level 3 certificate because you haven't done our level 3 course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good point.
When you finish this course, you are getting to get a certification as a licensed professional
trainer.
trainer, which
Yeah.
is something that you can take, or someone else on the course could take to their employer and say, I've done this course.
I've done this
This
to
is,
prepare me to train people.
Exactly.
I have these following skills because of this course.
So the actual certification comes from doing the course with us or with the PSIC in the pathway. The recognition simply helps you to enter our pathway wherever you're equivalent to.
And obviously, if someone wants to enter the pathway and they've got a level 3 equivalency, they then, to do the level 4, they would need to do the licensed professional trainer anyway before going on to the level 4.
It's part of the pathway.
Part of the,
Yes.
Yeah, and then you would obviously, if you were trying to do your level 4, you would do the startup camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be your first step for the level 4.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about level 4. Startup camp is...
So slightly different for us in Europe because we just have a slightly different seasonal schedule, let's say, to North America. So we do a 6-day pre-course, and then you go into the 4-day evaluation.
And is that straight after the 6 days?
No, it's separated. Yeah, so it depends. So in Japan this year, we did run it consecutively with a couple of days off in between, whereas in Europe, we did the pre-course in January and then the evaluation in March to give people a bit of time to go off and train.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, whereas in Japan, the reason it was a little bit more like that is because the way their season is structured, it's very intense work from December through to kind of the end of February.
Yeah.
And then it kind of drops off. And then it drops off, so we fit it a little bit more towards the end of the season. But obviously with the spring snow there's a window where if we do it too late, then the snow maybe won't be good enough to do the evaluation. So we have to compact it a little bit more.
Well, okay, cool. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Good. Cool. So that was a level 4 licensed professional trainer. Anything else on that?
No, I don't think so. I think, like Darren said, the main goal here is that it's a certification that we hope people can go to their employers with and just show that they've gone through another experience of getting trained, which is going to help them or their ski school they're going to work for be a better product for that ski school.
And bring in a fresh approach and a different way of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool, good. Okay, so we've covered off PSIE, linked with PSIC.
Yeah.
We've talked about the pathway.
Yeah.
We've talked about the licensed professional trainer. Touched on that level 4 there. Anything else that's important for people to know?
I think we've covered most of it there.
Yeah, I suppose I always stress, and I've stressed it in previous podcasts as well, is that, we've set up PSIE in Europe and because we were so liked what the Canadian PSIC organisation was doing. We believe in their values.
Yeah.
We believe in the quality of the training that they're offering and the whole adventure that they're offering.
Yeah.
Not just to the end guest, but to the people coming through that pathway, as I said. So we wanted to get involved in that, and this is how we've done that. So we really believe we're bringing something really good to the industry as a whole, and something that will help to elevate the whole industry. We're not trying to. We've never said to people to come, as you said, if you've come on this course, we're not saying that you shouldn't be a member of the organisation you trained with. That's not the case. The best instructors are usually members of multiple organizations, and that's what we want to encourage. We're not trying to say, leave that one, we're better. That's not the case. We're offering something that adds value to
what you already have or what you're already going to go and get.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah. Well, my perception from the first 2 days, we've got one more day to go, is it is a little bit different. As we said, the terminology is a little bit different. I quite like the look of it. I like what we've been doing. It's made me think a little bit more about different things. Some of the evening lectures has also sparked a little bit more. Oh, I need to go and find out a bit more about this, a bit more about that, which I wouldn't be doing if I was doing what I have been doing. Because there's been nothing there to make any change. So that's quite good. Cool. So course schedule for next winter?
We'll be out mid-May.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to join the PSIE, take a course, get into ski teaching, or if you're into ski teaching, you want to do a licensed professional trainer, from May on the website, which is?
PSIE.pro.
Okay, PSIE.pro. Obviously, Facebook page, Instagram.
Yeah, we're very active on Facebook and Instagram. We're also very active on LinkedIn, and we do have a YouTube page as well. So
And
all of
TikTok?
those. No, we're not on
Not
TikTok.
yet.
Not on
No,
TikTok
Not
yet.
managed to.
No. I'm
not
not
managed
very
to go
good
down
at
that route
TikTok.
yet.
Yeah.
To where the young kids are.
Yeah.
To where the kids are.
That's something I need to learn.
I'm not. I've got it, but I'm not very good.
But
Like
we may
I'm
be
not
on
very
some
good with it.
Chinese things. That I
Yeah, no,
don't
we're
know
definitely in
about.
the Chinese market there. Yeah, they have a different version of Instagram and stuff, and
Right,
you'll
okay,
find
cool.
us on there if you are in that kind of area of the world.
Cool, brilliant.
Yeah,
But
there will be some courses running in New Zealand this summer if you are down there. So yeah,
And they are running with.
so that'll be run through the Rookie Academy.
Okay.
Down there.
So most people in the ski industry will know who rookies are.
Yeah.
Rookies are a training academy that prepare you for exams from different associations.
Yeah, multiple associations.
So you can go to rookies and do a PSIE or C.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
That's good to know.
Yeah, and then we'll be in Japan next year, of course, as well, and Europe again.
Right. Perfect. Yeah. Cool. So I think that's a good place for us to wrap it up.
So. Yeah.
Thanks to Jamie and Derek for the PSIE. We will see you on the next podcast in the coming days. Bye from me.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.